I just started it because we had 2 minutes over. Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to the website's call. I'll just share the meeting minutes link with all of you in the chat so that you can add your names if you're attending this call in the chat box in the meeting minutes. I've shared the link, so if you're present in the call, please add your names in the meeting minutes. Meanwhile, do we have any newcomers on the call? Anyone who's attending the call for the first time? Elizabeth, have you been here before? Or is this the first time of you attending the website's call?
Hi, it's not my first time.
Okay, great. I think all of you have been here before. So if someone joins later, we can ask them to.
There's this character, and he's probably been here before, but Anurag, Mr. Pathak.
I am also joining for the first time.
Okay. Yeah, well, so there's a tradition of trying to make newcomers feel as uncomfortable as possible. And that is just to say hi to everybody, tell them about where you're calling in from, what brings you here, how old you are, what your favorite color is, and what your typical passwords are that you use on website. Okay, just kidding, Anyway.
No problem.
But yeah, say hi if you would.
So hello everyone. I am Anurag Pathak. I joined this community around 1 week ago. I have been learning about service mesh and other stuff. I learned a little about Messery as well this week only. Expecting to learn more from this community.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah, Anurag. Nice to. It's Anurag, right? That's how you enunciate.
Yeah. Actually, I pronounce it as Anurag.
Okay.
In my own language. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. A little more emphasis on the on, I think. Nice. Yeah, good to have you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, Harshit, is this your first website's call? You've been contributing lately, but we can't hear you. Yeah, still not audible. No, you're not audible yet. Who else do we have? Who else is attending the call for the first time? So when Harshit comes back, we can probably hear from him again. Though the first topic is by Harshit, we'll just wait for him to be back. I'll quickly give updates on the Meshmap page that we had recently. So I was working on changing the Meshmap page a little bit. So we have a couple of updates. One is this choose your mode, which I don't think I've shown in the website's call before. So this is a new component that I've added. And another thing was choose your content. Now this needs some more work, as in the mobile view right now. This image becomes like, since this is one image, it becomes too small. So I'll split this up and display it in a bigger format in the mobile view. And apart from that, these are some updates that were there. Some other things which we need to do is focus on the banner and remove the text as much as possible and make it like a very attractive looking banner without the text, because it should like display what Meshmap is without having the user read so much. So I'll be working on it, but if any one of you on the call have any other ideas, you can like just reach out to us. So I think Lee was talking in some other call about how the theme we are trying to follow here is like a game. Like over here, it's like choose your level or choose your mode, and the next one is choose your weapons and something like that. So that's pretty cool. So if you have any other ideas as to how to elaborate on this theme, it'll be like keeping Meshmap in mind. It'll be great. So I'll just pause for a second in case anyone has any feedback or any inputs over here. No.
Yeah, I do. The like choose your weapons thing, like where it says choose your content. If you've ever wasted time playing a video game, then and you might have had to go through and choose your character or like choose your vehicle, choose your car, and you kind of swipe through different characters, different car. Like if it's a character, like if it's a fighting game, a lot of times they'll have the character will be standing there and they'll be kind of like bouncing a little bit, or maybe they'll like do their special move occasionally, you know. And so if you think about it, like the carousel is animated, and to me, it's a little bit like that sort of, you know, particularly if there was, if more time was put into it where maybe it rotates, and when the card gets centered, it sort of, maybe it doesn't have to be special necessarily, maybe it just elevates up a little bit. And if it were to show the name of the card or I don't know, or something, you know how above the character's head, a lot of times you'll have like Mario or Luigi or whoever, you know, like sitting there. Anyway, they kind of come up and sort of go. It might be kind of neat the page as you go through and you sort of if the page itself looks like you're kind of playing a game. I think that some humor like that, maybe even some sarcastic humor, is intriguing to people, makes it a little more interesting. So when you think about it for a moment, what else do you do when you go to play a game like that? So you choose, maybe, is it one player, two player? What character do you want? What weapons might they get? Do you want to do any add-ons to your vehicle? Like any, you know, that's kind of, there could be an aspect of this where people are choosing what service mesh that they would like to deploy. And so there might be two levels of choice. So it might be like choose your service mesh, and there's some, and then it's like choose your power-ups, you know, in terms of the content here. It's like, oh, power up with a retry deadline and a but what, does nobody else play video games? Is that we've got power-ups, we've got inventory, we've got like what about when you're ready to go? Like you might choose who you're going to face off with, like, or you'll choose the like the background, is it the city that you're going to do it in, or the countryside, or the lake, you know, view. So in context of that, it could be like choose your platform, like are you going to do this on Docker or Kubernetes, or like what's the context in which you're going to do this, and is this on EKS, you know, like choose your, anyway, it doesn't take too much brainstorming to get to a point where you really could have a whole page that's pretty much mimics, you know, a fighting game. It doesn't have to be a fighting game. It could be a game about picking flowers and roses, something very sweet. Or the problem is you've got Opa there with the horns on that pretty much looks like it's a fighting game. So the B, sure, I get, could be flower game, you know, but there's the ninja star in the middle with the service mesh patterns. It's, you know. Okay. Well, as homework, everyone should go play a video game. come back with fresh ideas. But so good. So this page is going to be referenced a lot. It's the it's the new kind of global call to action. The upper right hand corner's button, the one called said goodbye YAML. It takes you to this page, and so in concept, it's the most important page of the site, like, or it's the one that gets linked to the most. There's something that Abhijay had been working on a little bit, and I think he would acknowledge he's not going to be successful on this. He was trying to create a call to action for Meshmap, and by call to action, for the most part, we just mean like a small advert, a small advertisement, if you will. So sometimes if you're reading a blog post or if you're looking at a different page, like the community page, on the community page, it might say, like right there, actually, it might say, join the discussion or join the community. Like, and it's basically an advertisement. It's not that we're not selling people something in that respect, but join the conversation is just that same call to action gets used in a variety of places. And so we're in need of one for Meshmap. And if that carousel scales down well enough, is kind of an intriguing call to action, a little advertisement saying, come check out Meshmap. That could be the design for the call to action. It could be that there's just a card, maybe one or more of those cards, statically positioned, that has the title of like, I don't know, to power up your service mesh. And it's just the call to action is just that. What in Super Mario Brothers, you get your extra life. What is it? It's just like you get your, and then you also get the mushroom and the fire flower, all those like those. Anyway, if it's like power up here or add on there. So we're in need of a call to action was my point. It's like outside of a game theme, which maybe we'll get to, maybe not. We do need the call to action. The call to action doesn't necessarily have to be original. It could be a piece of content from here. So. Yeah, and so on the carousel, just to Nikhil's good question, there's a couple of things that that Devapriya might be working on, or she might be soliciting volunteers to jump in, and that's probably a couple of things like at least the carousel itself being a clickable thing. The one link that it would point to would be the meshry.io/catalog. So it would take you to the full catalog of all of the content, or ideally each individual card would be linked to the individual content item in the Meshry catalog on meshry.io. If someone were to get really fancy, maybe you would let the user interact a little bit with one of the cards, maybe see a little more info. If you want to get fancy, like they could like hover over it, the card would swivel around, show the backside, and just have some info. Maybe they wouldn't be able to read it. They click it, it would take them to the catalog. For Devapriya's part, I think that there's some other stuff that I'm asking for you to work on. And so maybe in so much as you're able to just link it, one hyperlink, good. And there's some others on the call that might want to take up that challenge of individual links or swiveling the card or something else, because that's kind of nice to have on the top. Yeah, one thing that we'll work on is just the cards themselves are made up of about half SVG and half PNG. And I think we can get to a point where we can get all SVG content. And that way the card actually scales way down, scales way up very, very well. And if we put that much effort into it, using those one or more of those cards as the call to action, we can get our mileage out of that effort. And so,
Though I think, like, as a call to action for Meshmap, do you think the cards will be enough? Like, the cards will be good for catalog, right? Not for Meshmap.
maybe not. Yeah.
Like, like in my opinion, just a card as a call to action might not be that intriguing.
Yeah, or you wouldn't, if it was just the card, it might, you wouldn't really know. If it was mostly just the card, you wouldn't necessarily know that you were going to be taken to a page. You'd probably expect to learn more about HTTP metrics. And yeah, so it might be like a collection of two or four cards that are pretty tiny, but that would be inside of a larger, mesh map. Choose, power up your service mesh, and then a few cards that they really couldn't read, and then they clicked it. But yeah, we don't have to use those, but I'm just saying.
Right. So I'll try to work a little bit on this itself, like the thing you were talking about, how it enlarges when it comes on top and then goes back. And if anyone wants to take up the call to action, you can discuss like in the public channels like website, so that we can give our inputs as well. But we'll need that as soon as possible, because since we already have this on the navbar, we'll want to maximize our internal linking to this page a lot. And for that, I think call out will be the first steps. So anyone who has any ideas, you can just bring this up on the website channel and we can collaborate on it. So cannot hear you yet. Ateen, are you saying something? You're not audible. So if you are, I think you have to look into your mic a little bit. Cool. So any other feedback or any other inputs? Anyone else who plays video games, you can like come up with ideas related to that as well. And if you have ideas for the banner as well, I'll be looking into this a little bit tonight itself. So after that, you can, like if you have any other designs, you can bring this up. No other feedback? Okay. Right. So next, let us move on to Harshit's topic. Harshit, you're here.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, I shared my screen now. Okay, so I am working on filter news basically to filter the news of on the basis of coverage and press release, and we can have search the topics of the news here. So it's working fine. Let me show you that. If we click to coverage, we have the news of coverages. If we press release, we have the news of press release. And if you just search the news like here layer 5, it just automatically search the news. So this is the feature I added in the news of layer 5. Any questions on this?
Nice. Yeah, you're so close. you're almost. Yeah, maybe the only thing is when if you go into Figma, you'll be able to. You can take the CSS direct from Figma, and so I think you've got the action color spot on. I think if you're using the dark jungle green, I think.
Okay.
But the inactive color, I guess I was in Figma, it has it basically the same as like the tags on the blog. and
Yes, okay. I taken this color from a Figma, this active and this color
yeah, the active is
also.
correct. You couldn't possibly have taken the other one from Figma unless I'm totally wrong. And I'm very much willing to be embarrassed and be wrong on the call. So, so prove me wrong. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like if you go to the blog section for a moment, and you scroll down on the right-hand side, those, you might find, yeah, if you don't mind, maybe give that color a try. And then in Figma, also, you'll notice that the two, what is it, press release and coverage, that those two buttons are about 10 pixels apart-ish.
Okay, so I think there's a mistake from my side. Okay, I will fix that. I will fix it today.
Nice. Yeah, that's the question for everyone else. Is it obvious that those are filters?
Mm,
And that's just
yes.
that's bad design on my part. I mean, that's not.
Okay, it's working fine, I guess. Acting like a filter.
I think like if he applies that color, which is a dull gray, it will give the appearance that it's disabled, and then it'll like, appear to be a filter. Right now, it just acts like a button, not visibly a filter. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might be the only piece of feedback is those two things, just bringing them a little bit closer together and lightening them up. Nice. That's great. And yeah, and we got an extra bonus in there with the search, which seems to be working pretty well. That's great. Was there any significant difference between the implementation of the search field here versus, the use of the search in the blog area or other?
Okay, basically this search, the search the title and filter the title on the basis of the what we type here. Basically, if we type layer 5, it just filters out the news that we want.
Okay. And so it doesn't index any of the content of the news.
No, it doesn't make to just address the content. If we want, we can do it easily. But I thought that title will be enough for this. Okay, if you have ideas here that if you want to just search the paragraph here inside the cards, we can also do that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if it's easy enough, I think that most people, I know that as a user, I would probably expect that that it would be a little more greedy than that. Yeah, that it would include the content. Yep, rather than just a file name. If you think about search, yeah. Anyway, if you think about searching your file system, sometimes you just want to search the file name, and because you're going to have too many matches for the search term. Other times you're really disappointed if it's not indexing your file, and then you're kind of left wondering what to do because it's like your search isn't powerful enough, and you're like, oh. So.
So should I include the paragraph? What do you think? I mean, what all things here?
Anybody else have an opinion?
Maybe you could give it a try to include the content of the process of the news and see if that gets indexed. That should get right. Though that would require the change in the actual component, probably, on how the data is being indexed. So yeah, you could give it a try. And if that works, then probably uh, update that change in the blogs page as well as the resources page, because those two are also using the search bars.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have an idea on this? I will.
Also, if you face any issue while doing that change, you could reach out to Leonard. I don't think he's on the call, but yeah, you could reach out to him. he implemented the search in the first place. So yeah, he might have a better idea.
Harshit, is that all from you? Ritma?
Yes, yes. Okay, can I stop? Okay, I'm stop sharing now.
Thank you for that. So talking about the search, I think Shubhradeep, he implemented the search in the resources page as well. But with the current search, this also searches just the title. But the problem is the search and the filter isn't working. Like both of them are working fine individually, but when, like, suppose I search for Docker and then I try filtering, say, just news, it doesn't filter. But if I remove this, it filters news. And then when I search for Docker, okay, it doesn't filter again. So both of them are working. I've checked that, but they are not working simultaneously. So I've opened up an issue, and Shubhradeep said he will be looking into it. He had exams the last few weeks, that is why he has it. But if anyone has a quick fix for this, you can comment signal on the issue as well. So I hope I was clear about what the problem is. Anyone has any questions right now? Basically, this is working, and even the filters are working, but they're not working together. Is the problem. Like once you search, then you filter, or if you filter, then you search, it's not giving the correct results.
I can take this issue if it's busy out there.
Yeah, you could, but I think you're already like it's up to you. But I think once you finish up with the news thing, you can start a different PR for the searching the content as well.
Okay, okay.
You can take a look at this as well, no problem. Though just get in touch with Shubhradeep once, because I think he's looking into it once. So like we don't want both of your efforts to be wasted. So if he has a lead, then you can like get in touch with him. If he doesn't, then you can take it up from here as well. Cool.
Cool. Thank you.
Right. So yeah, that was one. Next up, we have Gaurav. Gaurav, would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So recently I added a change to the news template that we are having. So what it does is it adds a link to the original article over here based on the condition that if the article is not from us, which means the newsroom, so it won't show this read the full article from that because it doesn't make any sense. So what does what previously we were doing that we were just hard coding into the .mdx file that read the full article on this or that site. So we have just added it into the news template. And if the article is by us, which is the newsroom, it won't show this thing. Yep. And I have added and I have changed all the files and removed the hard coding for the link that we were providing from the MDX files. Yep. And good too much, I guess. Yep, this was the quick update.
Just a soft little. It's too bad the emoticons, like the emojis, don't come with a little like optional sound. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect, Agara. But you didn't. I mean, thank you for giving it holistic thought too about hey, if there should be a difference between the two types, and then cleaning up the old ones, putting in a new, like, what would you say? It's kind of like the blog post. If you end up writing a blog post, at the end of it, it will add a small signature by default. And so here, when a new piece of news is added, it'll add, well, if it was coverage written by someone else, it will add the name at the bottom, or not the name, the link to where to find the article. So that's great. Yeah, that's really nice. So uniformity to the news.
Yeah.
There will be more and more news coming out, so this will get used. Speaking of the new, there's an opportunity for Deborah Priya to toot her horn. Maybe I saw something on the page a second ago. It looked like there was a kind of a new section for media contact, press kit, brand kit.
Yeah, so yeah, you can go ahead. Right, so I added like a new column for downloading the press kit. So with our press releases, it basically will contain all the resources we used for the press release. So that can be downloaded over here. A link to the brand kit. If you have not seen a brand kit, you can Gaurav, if you go to the link of the brand kit. Yeah, so this is where we find all our logos, color schemes, everything. So for anyone who wants access to these, you can just get it from here. There's links to download it from here as well. And I've added the media contacts, because that was also repetition in all the like the press releases. So having that over there is, I think, much more accessible, and I thought it looked pretty, so that is why I added it over there. So yeah, that's all right now. So right now, I think the press kit is present only for the Meshmap press release, but we could add it to the previous press releases as well, and all the future ones. So yeah, so it's very simple right now. We just have to add the folder in the static folders and just add the link of the address of the folder to the index files. So if you do that, it'll just show up. And if article does not have the press release, then it just misses that button.
That's nice. So you not only made a new component, but you also made the kind of like what Gaurav was doing, is you made the component, it will dynamically display based on the presence or absence of front matter information. That's great. It's great.
So yeah, that was all from my side. So Gaurav, I think your PR is good to merge as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I see Leonard is on the call today. So Leonard, just like 5 minutes back, we were talking about the search feature that you implemented. So we were discussing how we should probably, like right now, the search component only searches the titles, right? So we were discussing how to search the entire content of, whatever is inside the index files as well. And Harshit wanted to work on it. So what opinions do you have regarding that? How complicated or easy do you think that will be to achieve? Your voice wasn't clear enough.
Yep, so we might want to go to the next person while I think he needs a minute. Is that Leonard?
So, the next topic is by Owen. When do you like to share your screen? Or should I go to the PR?
can share my screen though. Should I go on?
Yep. Yeah, you're. Say it again. Did you? If you can share your screen, please do. But if it's better for Deborah Priya to navigate for you, she could do that as well.
Okay, please. Thank you.
No one is ignoring you. It's just that your voice is so low. It's just really hard to hear.
For now.
Yeah, it's a little clearer now. So would you like to share your screen or should I go ahead and share it?
Okay, let me share my screen then.
Cool.
I'll share my screen. I worked on this particular, just adding an article for the contribution. Then Shibwell wrote a particular article, Google Docs, and my internet is unstable. So this is my local host currently. So I've added this to the book and it's currently working on my local host. So basically that's it. I can just go back. Yeah, I'm muted, right? Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I think we mostly got what you were saying, which is there's a draft blog post up for review of the activities that transpired inside of the She Code Africa 2022 program. And it's timely. Like you guys are in the process of wrapping up. And so, yeah, good. So Shubo had helped draft this and you'd added some content, which is great. Nice looking graphic, you know, like actually quite the eye-catching graphic. And good. So is this more of like a kickoff announcement or is this kind of a retrospective blog post?
I think it's just like trying to explain what
I think
was going on concerning
it
this
was
program.
okay, sorry.
It was kind of
thinking about I think we can sorry. So back to your point, Lee, about if it was a kickoff or retrospective. I think at the initial point of when Shibel wrote the article, it was a kickoff, but I can work on rephrasing it to be, or Edna could work on rephrasing it to be like a round off, because doing it as a kickoff doesn't really make sense at this point. So we can rephrase, I think, add on some paragraphs, little paragraphs to make it like that makes more sense, I think, than having it as, because this sounds as a kickoff, but we could just add in like, you know, paragraph to make it a round off, since it's already the end of the program. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, or if there's enough appetite we could like post date the announcement one, and then folks could write a separate one for kind of the wrap up, which is more work, but just something in case you wanted to do it. That would be two that kind of speak to, but yeah, otherwise just, a quick refactoring of part of the phrases like Ruth was saying. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but I'll try to like do that. We have a call later today, so try to work on that then. So we can also tweet this as well.
Maybe the second blog post can be by the participants. They can talk about what they learned or what they did in the project, something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Because they had like a presentation as well. We love the presentation over the wrap-up call, so they could turn that into a blog post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can
So I
talk
think this is
about
already good
documents.
to go. At this point, I think this is good to go. I think when you've made the PR, right? The PR is already you've made the PR to the main repo. Well, one is already done, Lee, so just remaining one.
Okay, I was on mute. Sorry. So I was saying now we'll have 2 blog posts from you guys. That's great news. So Leonard, if you're ready now, we can hear from you real quick. So you're not audible.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry for taking the time. I didn't have my. I connected to my system and then my mic has issues. So concerning the blog, like the search feature and how we could improve it to index the content. So technically, for now, I'm actually indexing only the title. So I would see if, like, from the data I'm getting, if there's a way I could just add, like, also index the content, so that if I'm searching, it's not only going to search on the content, it's also searching with the content, or like the data, the content of the data that is returned, instead of just searching for the title. So that's basically what I could do, because in the whole search functionality, I only included the title. So I'll see if there's a way to include the content as well. So that could work. And if it does, then I think the issue is already, it will be solved that way. So do you understand what I said? Am I muted? Can you hear me?
And sometimes it feels like that, though, right? When people don't respond. For my part, Leonard, I was totally busy. I was engrossed in another chat, and so I assumed that.
Okay.
I'm
Okay. Let me rephrase. So I said, is it okay? Let me, if I rephrase what I said.
Okay.
Okay. So what I said is that when in the search functionality, I was only indexing the title, and that is why it's only searching on the title. So I would see if there's a way to index both the content and the title. So when you try to, like, write on the search bar, it would have to search either the title or the content. So if that is doable, then I think the issue of just searching only the title is solved. So that's what I said.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And what library are we using for search?
Okay, we have this Gatsby plugin called JS Search.
Okay. And it does, I'm assuming it does what most JavaScript based searches will do, which is at build time, just create an index of terms and then use that JSON or that index to
make a search.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah. So I think that could be like some insights to any person that wants to work on the issue. But I'll see if I'm able to work on the issue too, and maybe create a PR.
Okay, Leonard, I'm also working on this issue on the news filters.
Okay.
So basically what I'm getting here is we are putting the content in the index itself, that where we have our titles and all this stuff, categories.
Okay, so in the news page, you want to use the content, right, instead of the title. Is that what you're saying?
No, yes, we also want to search the content in the news also. That's what we're discussing about.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that if you look at the hooks, custom hooks that I wrote for for those query, you would see that I included only the title. So basically the plugin is just indexing only the title. So you could try see if there's a way to add just not the title, but other parts of the data, return data as well, right? So I will try it on my end, and I will reach out to you also on Slack to see if you've had a headway. If I have, then I will tell you how I did it, so you could go ahead doing it that way, right? Is that
Uh,
fine?
yes, actually, I have an idea, but we have to add the content in every blog itself, right?
Yeah. Can you rephrase your question? I don't understand.
Okay, so basically to search the idea, we search the content in every blog. So we have to add the content in every blog itself.
Yeah. Harshit,
I think it's
your
yeah.
microphone went off.
I think so too.
Or
I think
actually,
you guys can take it to Slack, whatever
All right. All right.
feedback, and if you have time in the end of the call, you can like discuss it then.
Yeah, I think I missed his username, so I'll reach out to him right now.
Harshit Danji.
Okay, please help me type in the chat. Thanks.
Yeah. So next up, Krish, would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I was implementing the dark mode logos in GitHub. The problem was, I'm just going to share it with you. For example, in the light mode, as you can see that the logo is very clear to see, Meshri, the multi-mesh manager. But if I change it to dark mode, the contrast becomes very barely readable. So that's what I'm trying to change. But the problem is that the logos which have a tag with them, for example, they are hrefing to somewhere else, they are not able to change. They are included in, for example, I'll just show it to you. I'm sorry, this is my first weekly website call, so I'm just nervous.
no, take your time. Krish, actually, you'll have to introduce yourself when you're done.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay.
So just to give some context for other people that are looking at Krish's work right now, he'd been successful in taking advantage of a new feature on GitHub to basically append a light mode to allow you in Markdown to designate two versions for the same image. And one version you can designate as light mode and the other one as dark mode. And so it could actually be two different images, or it could be the same if you have, and so, yeah. And so he's taking advantage of that. And so he's done it successfully for the CNCF logo, and then just reflecting on what else, what other images might need a light versus dark mode. He's looking at doing the same for, man, I just said the same thing for
this
the
Meshri
logo.
logo.
Yeah.
So the problem here I detected is that the Meshri logo has an A tag with it. So it is hrefing it to the layer 5 page. In the CNCF logo, it's not hrefing to anywhere else. That's why it's able to perform function well.
but the mesh with the mesh it's causing that problem. So I was just asking if is it important to include the A tag, or should I just leave it with
Yes.
the A tag?
No, I'm sure that this can be figured out. Yes, you should include the A tag.
Okay, I'm just like looking at it right now. Like I spend a half day looking at it, but I'll just also look more into it. If I find a solution, I'll like try to implement it. But I was just asking
right
for
now.
this.
Yeah, right now you're stuck. Yeah, yep. There's yep. You might try literally an A tag. You might try the markdown version of an A tag. You might try the wrapping the putting the image inside of a div and then wrapping the div inside of an A tag. You might try positioning a div on top of the other div to the like granted in markdown and GitHub flavored markdown, they're going to strip out a lot of there's about 100 different ways that you could do it. And they're going to strip out like 95 of those ways, but that still leaves about 5 different ways to do it. And so
Okay. Thanks, Lee. Actually, I didn't think about that in that way. Okay, so I'll just implement it in all the logos. And what I was talking about other day was this logo. This logo, the Slack logo, has something written below it: join layer 5 Slack. So it's barely readable. So I just made another logo of it manually, because it wasn't in the logo section which was shared to me. So that's it.
Awesome. Nice. Good. Nice. So you stand to make any number of commits as you go and propagate that change.
Yes.
Just as I just to give some context as to what I was saying inside of Slack is just never, ever, 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 ever change the Meshri logo, the layer 5 logo, or any of the logos that are produced here. It's just a rule. There will be a virtual hand slapping for doing that. And so thanks for taking the initiative to do so. But let me know if you don't find a version of the logo that's a light mode versus a dark mode. Every logo, there's a logo kit, and it has a few different flavors of the logo. So you should be set.
Okay.
Nice. That's good. Krish, welcome. We're at the end of the call, and so we'll forego the formality of introducing you and harassing you. We'll save the harassment and indoctrination for next time. Good work.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Okay, so I don't think we have Yash or Abhijay on the call today, so let's take this up in the next call. Anurag, let's move forward with your topic. Would you like to share your screen?
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible?
It's sharing, but not yet visible. Is it visible to any of you guys?
It's showing black screen on my side.
Do you want me to share the link you shared on the meeting minutes?
Yeah, maybe you should try it, because it's the first time I'm using Zoom.
Yeah, you can go ahead and explain.
Yeah, so basically, I recently completed this course, and I did it in the Azure Kubernetes service. So Lee said that whatever modification I needed to perform in order to get it working in a case, I should add it here as well. So I was looking for your suggestions. What do you people say, and how should I start doing that? And moreover, I noticed that a few things got somewhat outdated, in the sense some of the version changed or something like that. So should I modify that as well?
Sorry, did you modify it already?
No, I haven't modified it already, but should I modify those outdated changes as well? I mean, some of the things got outdated a little bit.
Yeah, Nikhil, Mr. Meshmap, Lada, what do you think? Yes, you should. There may be any amount of outdated info in the labs as the surface meshes change versions, and so yeah, the helping keep that up to date would be warmly received.
Yeah, and how should I modify add the things which are required for getting the things run properly in a case? Like, should I edit as notes or separately?
That's a good question. Deborah, if you don't mind, if you click on one of those chapters. So for a learner, they'll come through. They'll say that they want to go through the learning path for surface meshes for developers, and they'll go through and they get a choice of like, well, did they want to learn this content for Istio, or did they want to learn it for Linkerd? And that's the choice in the lower left-hand corner. What we don't necessarily consider for in the content is, well, hey, are they using, to where are they deploying this? And if you're using a managed Kubernetes service, some of the instructions are different, and some of those instructions are captured within Meshry. Meshry's the docs, the support pages for each platform, which might be a good thing to hyperlink to from here. But there's certain segments that Anirudh, unless Nikhil has a different perspective, I might suggest that they just, to your suggestion, that special considerations for learning these labs on a managed Kubernetes service like AKS, that perhaps just because we don't have a lot of those right now, perhaps those are just notes in context of this specific section as a call out that just says, that just gives a special note. If we had a lot of that, it might make sense that not only were people choosing the mesh that they want to learn, but also the platform upon which they want to learn, because we would have lots of, the changes would be significant. So, Nikhil, does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I agree with that part. Like, you could use notes as of now to do this. I think in some of the chapters we are already using notes in some way, but I don't exactly remember which where it is.
Yeah, so there might be a decent example already. That's good. Anirudh, there might be a bug or two in there as well, outside of outdated info, like that curly brace quotation mark. Yeah. How embarrassing. The shame. Anirudh, that's great, man. Yeah, we can't wait for the notes to come forth.
By the way, I have done the Istio one only, not the Linkerd or others.
Okay. Yeah. If you feel like learning, I encourage you to do the Linkerd one. But if not, then at least we'll have notes for Istio.
Actually, I think that I should contribute to code a little bit, then only I should proceed with Linkerd. I mean,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, coding part I should focus more now.
Okay. I have a different philosophy, but yeah, I get it. Cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Anurag. So I think we've covered all the topics today. Anyone has anything else they would like to talk about? We're 2 minutes over time, so I don't think we should take up any more topics right now. But if you have anything to add to this, now is your chance. No? Cool. So thank you all for joining. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you.